Most people never expect a single moment to change their whole life. But for Jacob, a tired single dad who spent his days fixing cars and his nights raising his little girl, everything shifted on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. One unexpected choice, one act of courage, would pull him into a world he never imagined, and connect him to someone so far out of his reach that even he couldn't understand why fate had chosen him. And it all started with a kiss. A kiss that wasn't romantic, but life-saving. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment to support the channel, Kindness Tales, where stories remind you that goodness still exists in this world. Jacob didn't look like a hero. Most days, he walked around with grease on his jeans and exhaustion in his eyes. But he had a soft heart and an even softer voice whenever he spoke to his little girl, Emma. She was the reason he worked double shifts at the auto shop. He wanted her to have a life better than the one he grew up with. That day, he was hurrying across the street after picking up Emma from school. They were heading to the bus stop when he heard the screech of tires and a scream. His instincts took over. Emma grabbed his hand tightly as he pulled her behind him, scanning the road. On the other side of the intersection, a black SUV had slammed on the brakes. A young woman stood frozen in the crosswalk, her hands shaking, her face pale, and her breaths fast and shallow. She looked like she was collapsing, her knees buckling. Jacob didn't think. He just ran. "Emma, stay here," he shouted. When he reached the woman, she was gasping, trying to breathe, tears running down her cheeks. Jacob recognized the signs instantly: severe panic attack. He'd seen it before. His late wife had suffered them during the last months of her illness. "It's okay, you're okay," Jacob whispered gently, kneeling beside her. She shook her head, clutching her chest. I can't breathe." Her body trembled violently. Her lips were turning faintly blue. People stood around filming, whispering, staring, but no one stepped in. Jacob remembered the grounding technique he used to help his wife breathe. He cupped the woman's face gently, speaking softly but firmly. "Look at me. Focus on me." Her eyes darted wildly. "You're going to be okay," he whispered again. "Just breathe with me." She tried, but her breaths were still too shallow. Jacob knew exactly what his wife's doctor once told him: sometimes a controlled, surprising sensory interrupt can break the spiral. The doctor had pressed cold water to her lips once. Another time, Jacob had tapped her jaw gently. And in one desperate moment years ago, he kissed her just to snap her brain out of the panic loop. It worked then. He prayed it would work now. He hesitated for half a second, then leaned forward and kissed the trembling woman softly, not romantic, not lingering. Just a brief, grounding touch. Her breath hitched. She blinked hard. And suddenly, she inhaled, a long, shaky, real breath. Then another. Within seconds, her panic attack eased. Her body relaxed. Tears still streamed down her cheeks, but she was breathing again. Breathing normally. "You're safe," Jacob murmured, stepping back. She stared at him, stunned. Not angry. Not offended. Just overwhelmed. "Thank you," she whispered. I thought I was dying." "You weren't," Jacob said gently. "You just needed help." Before she could say another word, a security team rushed over, surrounding her. Jacob immediately picked up Emma and stepped aside, not wanting any trouble. But the woman looked back at him, her eyes filled with something he couldn't understand, not gratitude alone, but recognition. Like she had found something rare. Jacob carried Emma onto the bus and went home, brushing off the incident as just another wild day in a hard life. He had no idea who she was. But the next morning, he found out. His old flip phone rang while he was getting Emma ready for school. The voice on the other end was deep, powerful, and controlled. "Is this Jacob Reed?" Yes." This is Arthur Sterling. Jacob froze. Everyone knew that name. Billionaire. Real estate tycoon. One of the richest men in the country. I want to talk to you about what happened yesterday, Arthur said. With my daughter. Jacob felt his stomach drop. Oh no. He was in trouble. He hadn't meant to cross a line. He had only wanted to help. Sir, I'm sorry if anything I did was inappropriate, Jacob stammered. I just wanted to calm her down. Arthur interrupted with a steady voice. My daughter is alive today because of you. Jacob stopped breathing for a moment. I want to meet. Today. My driver will pick you up in 30 minutes. Before Jacob could protest, the call ended. He turned to Emma. Sweetheart. Daddy's going to be a little late dropping you off. The black luxury car that picked him up looked so shiny and expensive that Jacob felt out of place sitting in the back seat. When he arrived at the Sterling mansion was too small a word, it was practically a palace, he felt even worse. Arthur Sterling waited in a massive glass office. He stood tall, proud, but with eyes softened by fear only a father could understand. She could have died, Arthur said quietly. She has a severe panic disorder. It gets triggered by certain sounds. Yesterday it was the horn. Jacob nodded respectfully. I'm glad she's okay. I watched the security footage, Arthur continued. You didn't hesitate. You saved her. You treated her like a human being, not a billionaire's daughter. Jacob swallowed. Sir. I didn't know who she was. That's why it matters, Arthur said, voice thick with emotion. People help us because of our money. You helped her because of your heart. Jacob didn't know what to say. Just then, the young woman entered the room. No makeup. Hair tied back. Wearing plain clothes. She looked nothing like the glamorous photos the media posted of her. Her name was Lily Sterling. And she smiled softly at Jacob, her eyes warm and grateful. You didn't have to do what you did, she said gently. But you did. Why? Jacob's voice was quiet. Because someone once did the same for my wife. And kindness, it doesn't end with the people we love. Lily blinked back tears. Her father placed a hand on her shoulder, pride shining through his stern expression. Arthur turned to Jacob. I'd like to offer you something. A job. A better future for you and your daughter. You deserve that. Jacob shook his head politely. I wasn't expecting anything in return. I know, Arthur said. That's exactly why I want to give it. But Lily stepped closer, her voice soft. Even if you don't want anything, please don't disappear. I want to thank you properly. Jacob finally smiled, nervous, shy, but sincere. I'm not going anywhere. And in that room, something shifted. Not romance. Not yet. But connection. Respect. Kindness given and kindness returned. Sometimes life rewrites itself in the moments we least expect. Sometimes the smallest act of courage becomes the doorway to a future we never imagined. And sometimes, a single act of kindness is the beginning of a miracle. So go into the world today and be kind. You never know whose life you might save, or how they might change yours in return.